This is 3 days on an inaugural cruise on a brand new cruise ship and you're coming along. You will be experiencing all the cool things that a new ship has to offer along with the cool perks that Princess has. You will also be seeing onboard activities, dining, and amazing entertainment. My name's Dawson from DuckDuckCruiser.com and you're joining us as we set sail on this 3-day cruise on the Star Princess. And without any more said, let's get into it, but first, let's head back to boarding day. And once arriving to Fort Lauderdale, we had seen that we had the same problem that we had on our last Princess cruise, and that would be an extremely long line to get on the ship, but it wasn't too bad since it was moving pretty quick. And after passing through security and going through this cool screen thing, it was on to the medallion check. This is basically where you check your passports and get your medallion if it wasn't shipped to you. And once that was done, we made our way up some stairs onto the gangway to board the Star Princess. And now that we've boarded, we can head straight to the room since this was an inaugural cruise. And here we are, room 16537. Stepping into the room, you first have a closet space with plenty of drawers and lots of storage areas. Across from this you have your thermostat, and a bit further into the room is where your bed is. Alongside your bed is where your nightstand is, and across from that is your TV. And even further into the room you have a large desk space where you can find more storage along with a chair and a mirror. Oh yeah, and this is also where some of your plugs are. And across from this is your couch, which in this room can be made into a bed. Oh yeah, and you also have a mini fridge and a safe in the room. And back at the entrance is your bathroom. Here you'll find your toilet along with your sink and shower with plenty of storage, and by the way, the toilet is complimentary, like always. Anyways, let's go check out the balcony. And after checking out the room, we were feeling pretty hungry, so let's go get some lunch. And as for where we ate, we decided to eat up on the pool deck with all the little quick and grab-and-go options. And as for what these options are, so you have Lido Taco, Lido Slice, Lido Greens, and Lido Grill. And I decided to go for Lido Tacos. And maybe Lido Slice snuck in there as well. And as for how it tasted, it was all pretty good. And with lunch finished, it was almost mandatory that we went to go get some ice cream, and this was definitely better than the one on the Enchanted Princess. And pretty shortly after that ice cream, it was time for sail away, but this being an inaugural cruise, this was no normal sail away. And after watching Sail Away, we decided that since this was a brand new ship, we wanted to look around a bit. And one of the most notable features that the Star Princess has is the dome. Now while this is a cool feature and they do keep it a nice temperature, there just isn't enough seating for what they do in here. And another cool feature that we looked at was the piazza. See, this piazza isn't like any of their other ships, well, except Sun Princess. But this piazza is pretty much the central hub of the ship, and everything is pretty much located off of the piazza. And we also checked out the casino, which I personally think is one of the better looking casinos at sea. And after that exploring, we were feeling pretty hungry, so it was time to head to dinner. We're gonna be eating in the main dining room tonight, and we got this table right by a window. And after putting on our orders and getting some bread, our entrees came out, and to be honest, this prime rib just wasn't that good. But what was really good was this chocolate cake thing. And with dinner finished, it was now time to head to the cruise ship shops to buy a cruise ship model. And if you don't already know, we have a weird obsession of buying every ship model to every ship we've been on. And that means we just had to pick up one for Star Princess. And after purchasing the ship model, we made our way over to the show lounge. And I would recommend getting there as early as possible, especially because this is an arena style theater, since in my opinion, not every seat is made the same. And after a bit of waiting, the show did begin. And let me just say, this was one of the better shows I've seen at sea, especially for it not being Broadway. Anyways, after the show finished, we decided to go up to the dome to try to get a seat, but we had no luck. But after standing a bit, we decided we didn't really want to stand anymore, and we were feeling pretty tired, so we decided to head back to the room and go to bed. Well, good morning everyone, and I say that we head down to the buffet for some breakfast. And yes, I do mean down because for some reason the buffet's on deck 9 on this ship, and I don't really know how to feel about this since it is located in a convenient position, but it's just not normal. Anyways, we did get some food and sat down.
I got my breakfast. It actually looks kind of good, so. It's very good actually, the omelet, nice and cheesy, and I got all my pastries here, which obviously I'm gonna eat, so yeah. So the next thing we're gonna do is go swimming, like usually on our first day. So yeah.
And like I just said, we are going to be going swimming. But before I do that, I should tell you about all the pools on board. First of all, you have the pool that we're first going to be going to, and that would be the main pool. This is located on deck 17 in the middle of the ship and has 2 pools along with plenty of hot tubs. And along with this, on deck 18 there's even more hot tubs. And another one of the pools is located in the dome and is partially in the dome and some in the solarium area. And there's also another pool at the back of the ship which provides great wake views. And lastly, there's a pool for Sanctuary members, but we didn't have access to it this cruise. Anyways, let's actually get in the pool. Oh. It's so cold. And after a few minutes, that cold did get to me, so let's go check out the hot tub. Alright, let's go check out the pool in the dome now. Yeah, those pools were pretty cool, but I think it's time to go do something else now. Well, since we're tendered at Princess K, we thought it would be a good idea to go to shore just to get a few pictures of the ship. And as you can see here, we got some really good views of the ship. And once our tender ride was over, we docked up and headed off to Princess K. And I do have to say, this place was pretty cool, but we weren't really interested in a beach day today and we really only got off to look at the ship. So with that note, we pretty much turned around instantly and went back to the ship. And now that we're aboard, I go say we get some lunch, and what better place than Alfredo's Pizza. And yes, that does mean we will be using one of our casual dining uses. And if you're wondering what that is, well, I'll explain more about that later.
Alright, so we're gonna put in our orders, but we are here at Alfredo's, the pizzeria thing, and this is a casual dining, so we're gonna end up using one of those this cruise at least. But anyways, let's eat.
And I went for the cheese or margarita or whatever you want to call it pizza.
Alright, we got this pizza. Looks really good, sir, and sharp, obviously.
And this was definitely a good pizza. And I'm gonna be honest, after that pizza, we kind of just crashed for the rest of the afternoon, so instead of boring you with that, now would be a good time to explain the casual dining, which will lead into the Princess packages. So to start off with, there's 2 packages you can buy on your Princess cruise, and these packages are the Plus and Premier package. And the best way to think about these packages is they basically make your cruise more all-inclusive. Each package will give you a set of perks that you can use on your cruise, and if you're wondering what package we got, we have the Plus package on this cruise. And one of the benefits is 2 casual dining visits on our cruise. And now if you're wondering what casual dining is, well, this is basically just a specialty dining but cheaper and less fancy, just like the pizza place or O'Malley's, the Irish pub. Anyways, after resting in the room for quite a while, we decided that it was time for dinner, so let's head down to the buffet and get some food. And what I went for might look a little bit sad, but it was still really good. Anyways, let's move on to something more interesting, and I say that we go head to the show. And that's what was on for tonight. It was this cool band of guys who mashed up old songs with new songs, and honestly, it was way better than I thought it was gonna be. And once the show was finished, we decided to head to the Yes or No game show, which turns out to be my second favorite game show. The first one I'll show you later in the cruise. And right when we were about to get up, this other cool thing popped up called Princess Pops. You see what I did there? It's called Princess Pops. It said popped. Never mind. Anyways, this was just a cool dance show that the production crew put on in the piazza. And once that show had concluded, we decided to call it a night and head back to the room. Good morning, y'all. As you can see, we're arriving here to Nassau, but that's not going to stop us from going to breakfast. And as for where we'll be eating, well, we're going to be eating in the American Diner. Now, if you're wondering what this is, it's basically just the buffet, but another section. And I decided to go for a ton of pastries because if you know anything about me, I really enjoy my pastries. And after finishing those pastries, I decided to go check out the pool that I missed yesterday.
So yes, we're swimming again. We missed the pool yesterday. It's at the back. So yeah.
And as for how this pool was, I think this was my favorite on the ship since you get this amazing view right at the back. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I spent way too much time in that pool, so by the time I was ready to get out and go change, it was time for lunch. And as for where we decided to eat, well, we decided to eat yet again at the pool area. And this was because the food has been pretty good and this time was no exception. And once we had finished lunch, we decided to go check out a trivia in Princess Live. And if you're not familiar with Princess Live, this is basically the schooner bar of Princess. It's just such an iconic venue that's on every ship. But for what they actually do in Princess Live, well, this is basically just a place where they host trivias, other fun game shows, and just cool things you can do throughout the day. And after getting a piece of paper and pencil and sitting down, we realized that this wasn't a normal trivia, because this was some kind of weird word scramble trivia, and trust me, we did absolutely terrible at this. I mean, I think deciphering hieroglyphs might have been easier than this, but even with that said, it was still kind of fun. And with a quick seat change, we decided to stick around for the next trivia, which would be song trivia. And let me just say, we did just as terrible as the last one, but yet again, it was still pretty fun. Anyways, once that trivia finished, it was pretty close to being sail away, so we decided to go to our secret spot. Now you might be asking yourself, secret spot? Where could that be? Well, basically, if you walk all the way to the back on some of the decks where the rooms are, there's just these cool lookout platforms that give you a great aft view. So we decided to make use of these. And once sail away had finished, we decided to go get some dinner, and what better place than the buffet. As you can see, I went for a fairly simple dinner, but it was still delicious. And now that dinner's finished, now is probably a good time to tell you my thoughts on Star Princess. Overall, we did have a very fun time on board, and the ship also felt very new and nice, but I will say the layout was pretty bad. It really did just feel like huge chunks of the ship were missing. But besides that, like I said, the ship did feel new and very nice. I also thought that the room layout was kind of weird considering you don't even get a walk-in closet like on most other Princess ships. You get this other weird closet thing that kind of blocks the walkway when you're trying to open it, and just makes it a really tight space to do anything. But besides that, the beds were comfortable and the room was very new and nice. As for the food, well, it was just okay, nothing exceptional, but nothing too bad as well. And for the service, it was great as always. But what I do think really carried this ship was the entertainment on board. While some of the venues were small and did feel packed, the entertainment overall was really good. Though I will say it didn't feel like there were as many options as there was on our other Princess cruise, but maybe this was just because it was a 3-day cruise. So here's the scoring. It wasn't anything like our favorite cruise, but it was still a very fun and enjoyable cruise and would definitely do it again. Anyways, let's go get some seats in the theater and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, and something cool about this show is this was like the second time it was ever shown, so it was pretty much a brand new show. And let me just say, this was a really fun and entertaining show. I would definitely recommend watching this thing. By the way, this show was called Luminate, so if you see that on your ship, definitely watch it. And once the show was finished, we decided to go check out my favorite game show, which is Do You Wanna Dance? And just like always, this show was absolutely amazing. The solo dancing and the Titanic song just makes it beautiful. Anyways, once the game show finished, we decided to call it a night and head back to the room. Well, good morning y'all, and yes, we are back here in Fort Lauderdale, so that does mean that it's time to get off the ship. Well, that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below if you'd ever go on a Princess cruise. And with all that said, always remember to have a ducky day.